The registered education savings plan is a home run. It is a total home run. It provides a guaranteed return of 20% just based on the government grant. So forget about the investment returns, but just the government grant. And if you start early, that grant and the compound interest associated means that those contributions can grow to a pretty significant nest egg over time. And there are a bunch of different ways to set up an RESP. In fact, like lots of different ways. We're going to talk about one you probably haven't heard of. Andrew Lowe is the president and CEO of Embark. It is a Canadian education savings and planning company. Hello, Andrew.
Hi, how are you? Thank you for having me on the show.
I am well. Tell us, what is Embark? What's the mission?
Well, our mission is to help Canadians save as much as they can using the registered education savings plan so that there's enough money for their kids' post-secondary education.
As I mentioned, there's lots of ways to do it. You can open up an RESP at your bank. You can have a mutual fund in there. You can have a self-directed RESP where you buy exchange-traded funds. Your model is a bit different. Tell us about your model.
Yeah, so first, we're a digital-first platform. So you can come to embark.ca, explore the site, register for some valuable content we have in regular newsletters. But more importantly, you can open your account 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, because we're online. We will help you manage your contributions online. And we have a lot of flexibility. You can contribute when you want. You can set up regular contributions. And once you contribute, we automatically get you your government grant. And when we invest your contribution and the government grant together, potentially over 18 years before your child's ready for post-secondary, we can save tens of thousands of dollars and potentially help you pay for that 4-year university program.
As I was doing my research on Embark, there were two things that gave me pause. One was the reference to nonprofit, and the second was low risk portfolio. And they gave me pause because they sound like a traditional scholarship trust, which is, there's a lot of controversy and there are a lot of concerns about that. How does your model differ?
Yeah, first, our investment strategy is a glide path investment strategy, right? So the younger your child is, the more aggressive we invest. And as their child grows older towards post-secondary, towards 18, it automatically rebalances to something more conservative so that there's certainty when you have to withdraw for education, right? And so you will not be subjected to the volatility in the market. You know exactly how much you have for their education.
And then on the other side, because the scholarship trusts receive a lot of criticism for being too conservative, like most of it's fixed income, and therefore you're not getting much growth.
Yeah. So when your child is 0, we put them in a cohort that is more equities than conservative. But as your child gets towards 18, it flips. So it becomes more conservative and very little exposure to equities.
Like a retirement target date fund.
Exactly, a target date fund. That's exactly.
Yeah. What's the reference to nonprofit? Why did I see that?
That's great. We are owned by a nonprofit foundation formerly called Embark Student Foundation. And that is to help educate on RESPs, right? That foundation. And then we also use it to, help with extra programs for and scholarships to get kids to post-secondary. So
now,
we are owned by a not-for-profit. And so a lot of our earnings that come from managing the fund goes towards enhancing the digital platform and to provide more value-added services and to help kids plan towards post-secondary.
Given my earlier question about scholarship trust, is the nonprofit connection part of how you were able to get regulated or get into market?
No, that has a long history of how this company has been structured with the foundation. But what you should know is that the foundation's purpose is to help families get their kids to post-secondary, and that is tools, services, access to RESPs, educational content, and we even have scholarships.
Yeah. The other criticism of the traditional scholarship trust model was that it could be really hard to get your money out. So I get like calls and letters from people all the time saying, I signed up for this thing. I thought it would be fine. I can't contribute and I'm being penalized. What are the restrictions or requirements in your model that would either be like that, as I said, or completely not like that?
It's completely not like that. So first of all, last year we processed tens of thousands of subscribers withdrawal as they go towards post-secondary education, and we have a digital process for that. All you have to do is upload your post-secondary enrollment form and select the account you want the money to go. And we even guide you, right? We even guide you on how to withdraw on the most tax-effective basis as possible. In terms of contributions, it's always your money, just like in a TFSA, right? You put in your money, it's your money, and then when you want it, you can take it, and that's how our systems work. The only thing is you can't take the government grants unless you use it for the post-secondary. So
yeah.
You withdraw.
So if I oversimplify it, it really sounds like you're kind of a mutual fund company that focuses on a particular savings goal. Is that fair?
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. We have the same types of flexibility. Yeah.
Okay. So if that's the case, the question I would ask any mutual fund company is, what's your MER? What's your management expense ratio? And if I put as a benchmark, kind of the average would be about 2.3% for a Canadian equity fund. Where would you fit within that comparative?
Yeah, we're precisely 1.65.
Gotcha. So less than a traditional Canadian equity fund, but higher than an index mutual fund or an exchange traded fund.
Yeah, exactly. And the value we add is the digital, like the sign up, the automatic acquisition of government grants. And it's not just the federal grants. We have Quebec and we have BC with provincial grants, and we get those too. And it's more complicated. Like in BC, you have to be between 6 years old and 9 years old to get this grant. No one ever remembers that you're supposed to do that. So we do that for everyone automatic.
Yeah. I mean, if I was the ruler of the world, I would just literally require that on the day you receive your social insurance number for your newborn baby, an account is opened somewhere and an automatic transfer is set up and begun. Because I've seen firsthand, I have a 15-year-old, the power of compounding, because we started literally right when they were born.
Yeah, that's my dream as well. And we're trying to be innovative and think of ways we could help encourage parents to do that, because we already have a digital platform. Can we help them, get that SIN number? Can we help them make it more seamless? Can we engage these parents more, like before they have their kids, when they have more time? Because once they have their kids, they have a lot less time to deal with this sort of thing. So we try to do a lot of things like that.
Less time and more brain fog.
Yeah.
One of the things that I know shockingly little about is the withdrawal process. So educate me here. My kid gets into an institution. The list is very long. Like, it's not just universities and colleges. It could be like cooking school or ballet school. The list is long. Is it prescribed how much I can take out at a time? So I've got proof of acceptance at that institution. How much can I take out per year?
Yeah, and so we guide you through that in the withdrawal process. You upload your enrollment form. We manage all that. So we show you, hey, look, you have this much in government grants, you have this much in contribution, and we'll say on the screen, you should withdraw your grants first, because if you use your grants, right? And if you have leftover contributions at the end of post-secondary education, then you can take that money back yourself. But I can't give back the grant. So we always encourage that. And then we help them with tax effectiveness. So we encourage people to withdraw it in the name of their child so that it's taxed against their kid's income. And, at 18 years old, they probably don't have a lot of income. And so, likely you don't have to pay any tax on any of the earnings that you have in the fund. And there's a variety of rules about withdrawing, like your first 3 months, there's a limit and all that. We help with all of that. And so you can't make a mistake. Right. And so whenever government changes the regulations, allow more withdrawals or less withdrawals, we change our system so that we're always up to date and you don't make that mistake.
How do you factor in the cost of a program? Because, if you're going to school locally, you don't have out of province tuition, it's one price. If you're going to a top business school in this country, or you're studying somewhere else that isn't around the corner from your house, the cost can be much higher. In theory, could you pull out your entire $50,000 in RESP savings and put them to, half of a year at Harvard?
So there is a restriction in how much you can withdraw in the first 3 months. I believe it's and I correct me if I'm wrong, it's about 7,500, and then after that you're able to withdraw. And so and yeah, and a lot of parents withdraw enough money to pay for transportation, room and board, and so on and so forth. And that's a great question, which leads me to like planning for this type of stuff beyond tuition. Is we have a great calculator on our site where you could say, oh, I live in Ontario, but I'm going to go to school in BC, and I'll also need books, room and board, and we can calculate all that. And if your kid is 10 years old and you're planning this already, then we can tell you exactly how much you need to save every month in order to get to that. And we're finding, if you have to be out of province, on average, a 4-year university degree out of province is going to be north of $100,000. So we help plan what you need to put away every month in order to get there.
Really interesting stuff. Andrew, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. Really glad to be on the show.
Andrew Lowe, President and CEO of Embark, is a Canadian education savings and planning company. As you know, there's lots of different ways to save for an RESP for your kids' education. I don't actually really care which method you choose. I just want you to do it. Everybody needs to do it and get that government grant.